The firefighter got called in for a rescue mission. Two construction workers were dangling on the side of a roof where their harnesses had come undone. The situation was extremely critical. One of them had already reached his limit. He seemed like he couldn't hold out. Kelly quickly assigned tasks and then climbed straight up the ladder to rescue them. After reaching the top, Kelly dropped the rope bags and along with Cap approached the two men from both sides. Kelly hurriedly grabbed one man's safety rope, allowing the other to catch his breath. Cap hooked one man up and took him down first. The other man, named Ty, said he told me not to walk along the top and I didn't listen. Just as Kelly secured the safety rope around Ty's hand, the screws above suddenly loosened. All the pressure was put on Kelly's seriously injured arm, throwing him for a loop. Gritting his teeth, Kelly held on and told Ty to reach into his pocket and take out a knife. Ty cut the line attached to him to release the extra weight. At that moment, Hadley from above had already lowered another rope. Kelly told him to clamp it to his harness quickly. Once secured, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. Following Kelly's instructions, the two men slowly and safely descended to the ground. With Ty now safe, the rescue was successfully completed. Kelly held his arm in agony. Two men tore the woman's clothes off. They bound her hands and feet with chains. One of them pulled a switch, and the woman dropped into a glass tank filled with water. It turned out she was performing an extreme escape act. She had to unlock the chains and escape the tank within 10 seconds. If she exceeded the allotted time, flesh-eating piranhas from above would be released into the tank. Under the expectant gaze of the audience, the woman quickly unlocked the chains on her hands. Unexpectedly, as she tried to unlock the chains on her feet, she got stuck. The woman panicked instantly and began frantically pounding on the glass, seeking help from the audience. Seeing the time running out, the staff quickly brought an iron rod and struck the glass forcefully. No matter how hard he hit, the glass wouldn't break. In a critical moment, the woman pulled out the chains and swam towards the surface. However, time had already run out. The piranhas above were poured into the tank all at once. As the piranhas entered, the woman was pushed back into the tank. No matter how she struggled, she couldn't climb out. The water quickly turned red with blood, terrifying the audience. At that moment, the woman appeared safely among the crowd. It turned out to be a magic trick. Do you enjoy watching such magic performance? A mother and daughter were critically injured in a terrible car accident. The driver who caused the crash was nowhere to be found. A firefighter examined the shattered windshield. He suspected that the driver might have fallen into the river, but just as the firefighter was about to dive in for a rescue, candidate Mills noticed something unusual. The car was too clean. Among the crowd, a man was acting suspiciously. His eyes locked onto the accident scene. Mills immediately tackled him to the ground. This guy was definitely hiding something. Meanwhile, the firefighters worked tirelessly. The mother was successfully rescued, but the daughter's condition was critical. She had suffered a severe head injury. At first, the paramedics thought her fatal injury was in the head, but suddenly they noticed something wrong with her jugular vein. Further examination revealed cardiac compression. She needed to be rushed to the hospital immediately. The ambulance was just 2 minutes from the hospital when Dawson suddenly told her partner to pull over. The girl's heart had stopped due to internal bleeding near the heart. Dawson had to drain the blood right away, or the girl would die before reaching the hospital. Leslie knew this was against protocol, but Dawson insisted. With no choice, Leslie stopped the ambulance and put her trust in Dawson. However, Dawson was not a doctor. She accidentally pierced the heart. Panic set in. Leslie calmed Dawson down, helping her refocus. Dawson tried again. The blood pressure gradually rose. She did it. Leslie sped to the hospital, but trouble was far from over. The doctors questioned Dawson's actions. One even mocked her, saying it was a miracle she didn't kill the girl. Later, Chief Bowden called them in. The hospital had reported Dawson's unauthorized action. To protect themselves, the doctors wanted to shift the responsibility. Bowden warned them, if the girl survived, everything would be fine. But if something went wrong, Dawson wouldn't escape the consequences. Before they could worry too much, another rescue call came in. A group of reckless young men had been messing around, and one slid down a playground slide, landing unconscious.
What happened?
We rode it off down this ramp. We flipped. He hit first.
You're on something, huh? What do you want?
You need to shut up. Fix him, not me.
Luckily, he wasn't seriously hurt, as they loaded him onto the ambulance. His foul-mouthed friend insisted on riding along. Dawson was already on edge. The man started ranting. Annoyed, Dawson shut him down, humiliating him in front of everyone. Not long after Dawson returned to the firehouse, a complaint call was waiting for her. To major mistakes in one day, a suspension was now almost inevitable. But her bad luck wasn't over yet. Another emergency call. A man with a gunshot wound to the neck. His pulse was weak. He was no longer breathing. His mouth injuries were too severe. He needed an emergency tracheotomy, but that procedure was against protocol.
Excuse me, sir. Does that really matter to you right now? No? Oh, okay, good.
The firefighters exchanged nervous glances. Just as Dawson was about to proceed, Leslie snatched the scalpel away. One more mistake, and Dawson's career would be over after the rescue boat and asked to perform the procedure. Leslie took full responsibility, but they couldn't escape the inevitable. A hearing was scheduled for Dawson's rule breaches and complaints. Despite everything, Dawson did not regret her actions, but the evidence was against her. Then during a break, a key witness arrived. The little girl Dawson had saved. Sometimes, life still has moments that warm the heart. To avoid nuclear radiation, the man took his wife into a pre-dug hole. Just as they went in, their house was flattened. The man quickly closed the copper door, barely escaping disaster. He set a timer for the door to open automatically in 35 years, since nuclear radiation takes that long to dissipate. But it turned out that the explosion was not a nuclear bomb, but a plane crash. Fortunately, the man had prepared everything in the hole, including electricity, water, and a supermarket. All supplies were set to last 35 years. To pass the time, he built a pond for fishing. He also prepared a TV for his wife, downloading enough movies for 35 years. One day his wife went into labor. The man immediately brought a chair, having learned how to deliver babies beforehand. Thus the three of them lived happily in the hole, accustomed to their isolated life. After 35 years, their child was also 35 years old. On the child's birthday, a loud noise interrupted them. The man ran to check the door. Discovering the timer had expired, the couple danced with joy. The man quickly took the elevator to the surface, only to find the outside world had already returned to normal.
Some help over here!
Josh, a man with half of his face torn apart. His mouth was filled with blood. His jawbone was completely shattered. All of this happened just because he stopped a thug from harassing a girl on the subway. In response, the thug grabbed a skateboard and smashed it into his face. Even worse, the thug ran away after attacking him. The girl he saved also disappeared without a trace. Was it really worth it? Doctors quickly performed surgery on him. They initially planned to fix his broken jaw with steel plates, but when the doctor cut open his cheek, he was stunned. Josh's jawbone had shattered into tiny fragments. It was beyond repair. This meant he couldn't receive muscle or skin grafts. When Josh woke up, the doctor helplessly told him he would lose the ability to speak and chew. Dr. Murphy even added a brutal remark.
Forever?
Josh found it hard to accept the truth, but he had no choice, so he typed out a simple message. The doctors were touched by this hero's optimism. Was there really no hope for Josh? That night, Sean sat in his room mumbling. There are 640 muscles and 206 bones in the human body, with 20,448 possible combinations. What was he doing? He was trying to find one solution out of those 20,000 plus combinations to save Josh, and as expected from a genius doctor, he did it in just one night.
Murphy. I've got it! I've got it!
Sean excitedly shared his idea to transplant a vascularized flap from Josh's pectoral muscle to his face. This would cause numbness in his chest, but it would restore his ability to speak and chew. However, the surgery was extremely risky. If it failed, half of Josh's face would have to be removed. Sean went straight to Josh to let him decide. Before Sean could even finish explaining, Josh eagerly wrote yes. But Dr. Andrews and Dr. Brown weren't as optimistic. They explained all the risks of the surgery. Still, Josh insisted on going through with it. The surgery was extremely complex. The doctors had to separate each facial blood vessel carefully to create enough space for the transplant. Suddenly, Josh's blood pressure spiked. His heart rate became irregular. It was a sign of a blood clot. Sure enough, they found a blockage in his carotid artery and removed it successfully. In the end, judging by Sean's smug expression, the surgery was a success. Josh could speak normally again.
Thank you.
Just then, a girl appeared outside the room. She was the girl Josh had saved on the subway. She asked him, "What made you stand up for me?" Josh smiled and said, "I don't know, I just knew you needed help." Such a simple reason, but how many people would actually do the same?